You're listening to Grown and Growing with Sonia Hamlin. Welcome to the podcast, Zarah. How are you?
Hi, I'm great. And you?
I'm good. I'm so glad you woke up early. It is 6 a.m. where you are.
Yes, it is. And I'm just grateful that you had me here today. I'm willing to wake up for good people. So here we go.
I appreciate it. And you have such a fascinating story that I was like, I'm going to ask her to be on my little podcast. And you immediately enthusiastically said yes, which I really appreciate. And for those of you who don't know, the way that Zarah got into my orbit is that she was a natural hairstylist in Baltimore for many years. And she was, you just gave all the girls hope who had who had natural hair, right? And you style hair in a way that was different than everybody else. It was very signature. So I just want to know, like, you were very successful with that. How did you get into natural hair? Did you do did you do all types of hair and then you just kind of settled into natural? How did you find that you had a talent for this?
I was the kitchen beautician. I was the girl in college doing $20 hairstyles on everyone. I always played in hair. I started a YouTube a long time ago when I was young, just styling my own hair, and I just played with hair. I went to school for I was at UB for an art program, and I was taking a photography class. And one of the classes, every assignment, I would find a way to incorporate hair into it. And so let's say the assignment was lines, I would do, at the time, my boyfriend's locks, and I would style it and take a picture, or everything I did was around hair. And then one of the girls there, she said, "Hey, you're really talented. Would you like to work in my salon?" And I was like, "Wow, I would love to." And then it was history from there. I started taking classes, I started working with professionals, and I just started working in a salon, and it was just history. I was working in what it was an Eclectic, which was one of the biggest natural hair salons in Baltimore at the time. There was 12 stylists in there, and that's where I learned the most about natural hair. And I was connected to so many powerful women who were just so talented. So that's how I got into hair.
Yeah, and you were one of those talented women.
Thank
Because
you.
like even still when you come home and you post like, "Hey guys, I'm here for 2 weeks. Anybody want to get their hair done?" I'm sure you are like people are racing to get to you. So did you always want to have your own? Did you have your own salon? You did, right? At one point, you started your own
I
salon.
did. So I started off just working in other salons. And then in 2016, I had my own salon, ZC Hair Loft. And I loved it. I love having my own salon. I love having my own space. And I love hair. I love styling hair. I love the connection I make with women. I love it
Mhm.
all.
Yeah, you have this magnetic personality, I can tell. I never sat in your
Um,
chair. I wanted to, but I never got an appointment. But I can tell you just have a magnetic personality where people just kind of open up when you sit in the chair. So fast forward, so you had this very successful salon. I was following you on social media because of your hair and your styles. And then all of a sudden you were like, "Hey guys, I'm leaving." I'm leaving. I'm moving. So tell me what brought you to that place. Like you were, what some people would say, like at the peak of their career here in Baltimore, just your own successful salon. I'm sure, the lines are, out the door. The wait was there to get in your chair. And then all of a sudden you decided to move on from that. What prompted that journey? And then what did you decide to do?
Absolutely. So as much as I love hair, as much as I love my clients, I still love them to this day. If you're watching this, I love y'all. I was in a space in 2018 where I was feeling unfulfilled, and I didn't know why.
Mhm.
There was something I was like, there's something deeper, and there's something more that I should be doing, and I didn't understand what it was. And
Right.
um, I I loved my job, but the monotony was getting to me after a while. Like there's something more for me. There's something bigger for me to do. And I thought that it was, let me invest more energy into my business and open this stream of income for hair. And it's just, it wasn't fulfilling. And I didn't understand why. And so I went on a trip to Thailand in early 2018, and it was a great trip. At that time, I was known for traveling. Everyone knew, oh, Zara's going to be gone for at least a week every other month because she's going to travel somewhere. And so I went to Thailand and I came home and I felt homesick for a place I never lived before. And that's the only way I could describe it. Nothing specific or special happened on the trip. It was a great trip, but nothing special happened on the trip. But Thailand, it was a calling for Thailand. And a lot of people who live here, who've been here, they understand that calling because Thailand is a very special place.
Yeah.
And so when I came home, I stayed up and I was researching Thailand all the time, and I was looking at what life was like for people who live there. And I was just, it was looking like an obsession. Like I needed to understand. And as time went on, and I don't believe in coincidences. I believe that everything happened for a reason. There were signs over and over that were like, you need to go to Thailand, like over and over. And what
does that feel like to feel like a place is home that you've never been, like, and to feel this thing calling you? What does that feel like? Describe that to me?
Ooh, what does that feel like? It feels like I'm in the wrong place. Okay. It feels like I'm in the wrong place. So, oh, wow. I tell people Thailand is an experience, and Chiang Mai specifically is an experience, and it's hard for you to explain the magic of living in Thailand. And for some people, they feel it in different locations, right? So some people feel that in Mexico, but I felt that in Thailand. And a lot of people who come here, especially in Chiang Mai, they feel it here. It is an experience. The people are kind, the food is healthy and delicious. The experience, there's a magic, there's a spirit here. Yeah. There's a spirit of lightness. Chiang Mai is known as the land of smiles. Everyone is happy and smiling and just so positive. There's always something good to go on. It's just a really, really good place. It feels really light. As a Black woman, I feel safe, which
yeah, that's important.
That itself is everything. I didn't realize until I lived here that I never felt safe before in my life. I've always had the weight of being a Black woman in America on my shoulders. And you don't realize how heavy that is until you don't have it on anymore. Yeah. So when you can put your armor down and really feel, wow, I'm a little bit lighter now that I don't have to look over my shoulder at night. I'm a little lighter now because I don't have to worry about who's watching me. You don't realize how much that weighs on you.
That's amazing, because I'm listening to you and I'm like, what does that feel like?
That sounds amazing. I can't tell you, it's an experience. Like I can tell you what I felt like, but you will never understand until you feel it. There's so many times I've met people here who've been like, especially recently, a Black man came to me and he started crying. He said, I've never felt this safe before in my life either. And he was just like, it really overtook me when I realized how safe I was. And it's something that I will always cherish, and I will always come back to this place for that. So I can feel that feeling of safety and relaxation that I just can't feel as a Black man in the States.
And you feel like the people there, like really, because sometimes when you see people, now I haven't traveled to an Asian country before, so sometimes you see people where Black people in particular are like novelties, and they like want to touch you and feel you and feel your hair. And I never saw a Black person. Is any of that there, or do they accept you with open arms? And what's that experience like?
So my experience with Thai people it's not like how it is in other Asian countries. Thai people are very kind and they're very open. Thai people are very kind and they're very open. I haven't had too much of like staring or anything like that. In other Asian countries, yes. Thailand, not so much. They've seen us around. And they've seen us around. But also they're very kind. Very, very kind people. Very kind people. I recently, a friend and I, two of us, we got together and we dressed in traditional Thai wear, and we walked around in like what would be like a main area, and all the Thai people were blowing their horns and honking and giving us thumbs up, and they were so appreciative that we were a part of their culture in a way that I honestly didn't expect. Like I was like, wow, okay, that's nice. And so,
Yeah.
but they were so appreciative. They're such kind people. Thai people are
I love
wonderful.
I love hearing that there are kind people in the world because sometimes it feels like this few and far between. Um,
Hmm.
so you mentioned a friend there. Were you when you moved out to Thailand, did you research expats that lived there? Were you concerned about making connections when you moved there? How do you handle you know, being away from your family and friends and finding similar connections in this country?
Absolutely. So before I got here, I researched and I said, where are the Black people? As much as I love Thai culture, as much as I love the community, I need my people and I need
Yeah.
access to people who look like me. And I saw that Thailand had a big Black community at the time, especially in Chiang Mai. They had Black a big Black community. And so I did everything I could to stay connected with them. I was in all the groups in every city where there were Black communities, and I'm like asking questions and connecting with people before I got here because that's important to me. That's very important to me that I can stay connected. Yes, the community at large, but my people too. We have a special experience. We have a special we have a different language than other people. If
Yes.
I say oh, I need to get my kitchen touched up, you know what I'm talking about. And
Right.
I
Right.
can't talk about, I can't say that to everyone. I need to be
Yeah.
able to have that conversation with people. And so that was very important. When I got here this go round, I linked up with a few people and we created the Black in Chiang Mai community because it's, again, community is very important for me. And so
How big is that community? How many people? I'm
right
curious
now
about
there's
the number.
120 people in the group.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
And
There's
did they all feel the same pull that you felt, or are they military? Like what in general, if you could generalize like why they're there.
who's in the community, absolutely. So
Yeah.
Chiang Mai is a transient city, so there's a lot of people who are in and out. There's a lot of people who come for 3 months, 6 months, few weeks, and they come in and out. And then there's the people who just live here and they're like, I'm gonna stay here. Chiang Mai has a great visa that you can stay for the year if you just study Thai or if you study Muay Thai. So people are like, oh, I'll just stay for a year. And then there's people who are like, I'm gonna live here. And so there's a range of all of those in that mix of between just short-term travelers, year-long gap year people, and then the people who are like, I'm gonna stay here forever. So it's a nice little range. Mm-hmm.
So do you think that you'll ever move back to the US, or do you see yourself living internationally for a long for the time being? Like how long do you see yourself living outside the US?
I don't know, friend. No, honestly, I see myself building my life internationally. I don't see myself um when I come home, it will be to visit, not to live. And I can see myself coming home at max maybe 6 months to a year at a time, but longer than that.
Explain what it's like to come back here. Like why do you feel that way? I think people who live here, look, I understand how you can feel that way, and I've never lived anywhere internationally, but I want to hear from you. Like, what does it feel like to come home to this environment, to this country, to this political system, to this, you know, to Baltimore? Like, what is it like for you now?
Okay, so I'd like to come home in the summer. And the summer is when everyone is nice and happy and comfortable and all the festivals are going on and all the good things are going on and the energy is high and people feel good. And one thing is I realized I don't like cold weather. I don't like cold weather. It doesn't bring out the best in me. It doesn't bring out the best in everyone around me. Everyone's sad. Everyone is depressed. At one point, I was only coming home during the winter time, and I was like, oh, I don't even know if I like home. And I didn't like feeling like that because I'm like, I love my city. But I was just like, I don't know if I like home. But it wasn't I didn't like home. Everybody was just sad. It's depression season. It's cold. It's holiday season. People are stressed. It was a lot. And so between myself and my family, my clients, and people that I was just seeing on the street, I'm like, everyone looks so sad. But when you live someplace that's warm, that the sun is shining for the majority of the time, your energy is high naturally because of the sun. You don't realize how powerful the sun is on our mood. And so coming home in the summer this past year for the first time in a long time was like, oh, okay. Now I know what it feels like to come home. So
this is
coming
better.
home,
Okay.
this is so much better. It's a breath of fresh air. People are so much nicer. It's crazy the night and day between people who I know and love, and even like clients who I'm like, I saw you in the winter and you just weren't the same as you were in the summer. So
you just come alive in the summer. I mean, I definitely feel that. I'm from Cleveland originally, where the winters are tough and long. Well, they used to be before global warming. And even just the temperature difference between Maryland and Ohio is vastly different. We get way more sun in Maryland, and they're only 6 hours away. So I could definitely feel you on that. Do you feel like you have to put up your guard? Do you feel like you're like, oh, I have to put on an armor? Like, what does it feel like to enter this environment after living in the place of kindness and sunshine?
Yeah, you understand. When I come home, I have to put the armor back on. Sometimes I have to stop smiling as much. And that's a little weird for me because I'm like, oh, I don't want to offend anybody. I don't want anybody to look, or not necessarily stop smiling so much, but I don't want people to take it the wrong way. Like, I'm used to smiling at everyone and it's friendly. And I don't want anyone thinking, oh, I don't want anyone to have any ill intention based off of what I'm doing. And so that's one thing. I'm not used to, I haven't been catcalled in a long time. Like, that's not something that happens here. And so when I'm home, I'm like, okay, let me put my outside voice on, my outside street face on, and all of those things. I just have to prepare to be home.
And what about the food? I'm sure there's a difference in
the food is the biggest thing for me. Food is the biggest thing for me. Food is the biggest. It's hard for me to really enjoy food at home the way I enjoy food here. I feel like I eat to survive at home versus here. I enjoy there's hardly any bad meals. And I'm not exact. Thailand is known for their food. And it's underrated. They don't speak about, I mean, it needs to be talked about more because Thailand's food is so delicious to me. Even if it's not necessarily Thai food, they're Western food. All the cooks and the chefs here are really good with flavors and tying the right flavors together and pairing different, just pairing it all together. And so when I get home and I'm like, this was $40 and I'm still hungry. And
is there a difference in flavor of the food? Because sometimes when I travel, the how it tastes is different. Like it's like the food is grown. Well, it's obviously grown somewhere else, but you can eat chicken here and then chicken there, but it doesn't taste the same.
So in the States, I try not to even eat as much meat because the meat doesn't taste the same. It doesn't leave my body feeling the same. And that's the real thing at the end of the day. If it's really hard to digest, I don't want it. Like, it doesn't feel good in me. And a lot of the foods in the States are full of GMOs. They're full of preservatives. They are shipped in from tons of other places. So it's not locally grown, which that affects how it is when it's picked, and how just all of that just comes together in your food. And so if everything is shipped in, and if everything has been sprayed with GMOs, and the taste isn't going to be as fresh, I don't care how many seasonings you put on it, it's still not going to be the same as when it is locally grown, as when it is fresh, when it's grown in a climate where it's warm majority of the year and things like that. So the food tastes so much better here. I enjoy my fruits and vegetables here. A good mango every morning to start the day is the best way I start. It feels so good to have
it is not mango season here. No, I feel like you're gonna have like so many visitors. Like after this interview, I'm like, maybe I should go visit Shanghai.
Please,
like, you looking for roommates? Wait, how can I be down?
Come visit.
I mean, to be honest with you, it sounds so enticing. I think as I get older, I feel like living in this country, especially in the time that we're in, where I feel like we're regressing politically. Like, I feel like, I'm like, are we going to have any rights here? It just gets harder to live and fight, and you want to, because this is where your ancestors were and they did so much, and you want to fight for it. But also it's like, well, I want to live the peaceful life that you live in. I want people to smile at me and I smile back. It just gets tougher. And I often say to my friends, jokingly but serious, I'm like, so where are we going if this thing blow up? Like, what country are we going to? Where are we? And so now we have Thailand on the list. But you know, it does get more difficult to and you wonder, like, is it worth it? So, but I want to ask, go ahead.
I'm sorry. There's this thing that America will have you believe you that America's the only option, and they're gonna tell you that the rest of the world, we've been pushed to believe that there's no other place to be but America, and it's the best, and nothing, everything else, they don't like you, they don't want you there, but America tells you every day they show you every day they don't want you. Every day you're shown. We watch the news. The news tells us every day how much we're not wanted, we're not loved, we're not cared for every day. And so it's like, please don't listen. It's not true. And another thing is, a lot of people are like, my ancestors fought for this land. I agree wholeheartedly, but you know, they also fought for our rights. And one of our rights is to have a passport. One of our rights is to experience more of the world. And we are a transient people. As much as we are transient people. We move a lot. And so we don't have to, I truly feel like I've been called to, I don't have to fight. I don't want to fight anymore. I don't want to fight for a space that doesn't want me there. My ancestors fought, their ancestors fought. Everyone's been fighting for this peace, for this wonderful place.
Right.
And I don't want to fight anymore. I want peace.
Yeah.
And I think that we deserve rest. We deserve peace. We deserve to be free. We deserve to be happy. There's people who come here and the cost of living is so low here compared to the States that there's people I meet so many people who are like, oh, I was able to pay off $30,000 worth of debt. I was able to come here and just live at peace and pay off $50,000 worth of debt and still be okay. Whereas I would never be able to do that at home. I was drowning. And just that little bit of space and that time to breathe and be free can really change someone. And it's not even one thing too, you don't have to stay here for a long term. You don't have to stay here. There's a wonderful group of ladies. They run Exodus Summit, and they focus on helping people have an adult gap year. You want to take a year off work and just explore and just live in a place and just be free for a while. These women will help you find, they have a conference every year, and they will. Yeah,
that sounds amazing. In fact, my older sister is, she lives in Cleveland. She has sickle cell, which it makes living in Cleveland difficult for her because of the weather. And so she always talks about going somewhere else, moving out of the country, and experiencing life out of the country. And she has this thing where she says, from the tree to my mouth. That's what I want to go somewhere where I can eat from the tree to my mouth. And so I know that this conversation in particular, she will find very interesting. And what was the name of the group again? The Exodus? Is that what it's
called? Exodus Summit, exodussummit.com. They're great. You can find them on Instagram website. They have a conference every year. They are wonderful. Yes, please do.
I want a gap year. Okay, so for people wondering about the practicalities of moving across, moving internationally. So how difficult was it to set your life up over there? Like apartment, documentation, visas. You say it's easy. What did you do? What's involved in moving to Chiang Mai?
So here in Thailand, the visa, so it depends on the type of visa you get. I have an education visa, and that allows me to stay for the year, and then at the end of the year, I'll be able to renew it. That's not expensive at all. My apartment, I currently live in a condo. There is a pool, a gym, and a sauna, fully furnished. The rent is $375. It includes all utilities.
Why are you making us feel dumb for being here? I feel real stupid.
Fully furnished includes all utilities. I'm 2 seconds outside of the city. It takes me 15 minutes to get everywhere. Like it's perfect for my life. They also, if you're like, I want a house, you can get a house you can easily get a house here for $500 US, fully furnished, 3-4 bedroom, multiple bedrooms, not just one. I'm talking about multiple bedrooms, beautiful patio, beautiful outside space. Like there's tons of tons of resources. And for here, all you have to do is come with 3 months rent. 3 months rent. And so, for example, I tell them, like, come for a week, so get an Airbnb for a week, and just spend that week looking at spaces. You can get a realtor. I'll recommend a realtor to take you around, tell the realtor what you're interested in. And the realtor is, they focus on short-term and long-term. So It's not just, oh, I'm just buying a house, or no, it's about renting too. So if you just want to rent for a little while, you get a realtor. They'll take you around. They'll show you different places. And usually by the end of the week, everyone's like, oh, I found my dream place. It had all the things I wanted. And I just put the rent down and I got the keys the next day. So it's not like at home where you need a credit check. It's not like at home where you need all the things. All you have to do is
I mean, the thing that
this was my experience in Mexico also. So it's where I've been in Mexico and Malaysia. My friends in Vietnam say the same. It's not a big thing. It's sign your contract and pay your money and they hand you the keys. So
that's so crazy, because I said I feel stupid because right now the top stories are how expensive it is to buy houses, how there's a housing shortage. In the United States, one of the richest countries in the world, there is a housing shortage. And it's just, this conversation, I feel like you're going to free a lot of people. I feel like a lot of people are going to walk away like me and be like, what am I doing? What am I doing?
Yeah.
But I'm also thinking about, like, retiring in this country. I'm closer to retirement age. And I'm like, I don't want to, it's going to be hard. Like, right. If you haven't saved up millions and millions of dollars, it's going to be hard to retire comfortably. And what does that look like? I think about that now. Like, what does that look like in this country? Retiring.
And you should, because it's important. You should think about that. It's important. And that is also another thing. Tons of people retire here. Tons of people say, you know what? That's enough. I'm going to leave and retire here. And they live peaceful lives.
You know what?
They live peaceful lives.
Don't be surprised if you look up next week. You'll be like, wait, what you doing there?
Come visit.
I
Please
want to.
I really mean it.
So I want to talk about because one of the other things I find really intriguing about your experience there is that you still do natural hair. You started a hair company, which is crazy. You started a hair company. That's one of the businesses that I know about. What else do you do? How else have you spread your wings since you moved?
Absolutely. So I love hair, and I said I'm not going to stop doing hair, and it is a joy of mine, and it feels really good to tap into hair in a different way, because I'm so used to being behind the chair, and I'm like, how can I still use and share my gift of hair, but not be behind the chair? And so I started a hairline, a lower hair collection. I sell raw hair. I also am hosting a Black hair exhibition here in Chiang Mai. There is no Black hair here. It's not a thing. You'll find some Black hair stylists, like African braiders and things like that, but as a whole, there's no Black hair. And that's, when I see a gap in the market, I make a space for it. And so I've gotten great response from people who are interested in the hair show, and I'm going to make sure that this happens on a regular basis, because Black hair needs to be shared globally. I love sharing my love for hair to the world. It's a beautiful art, and I love sharing it. But one thing too also is, as much as I enjoy making people feel beautiful on the outside, there's something about the inside that I had to learn myself. I studied when I was in Mexico. I met a hypnotist. It was my hypnosis story. It's just wild. I was watching YouTube, And I was watching YouTube, and YouTube suggested I watch this hypnosis show one day. I'm not into hypnosis. It wasn't my thing, but I was just like, I'll watch it because it's here. I don't know. I watched it. It was great. The next day, the hypnotist was on the beach in
The same
Mexico.
one?
I wasn't in a touristy area. I was in an area where it was mostly local. So then I was really like, oh, I'm supposed to know this person. I'm supposed to know this man.
Crazy. Yes, you are.
And so we started talking. I said, wow, this is crazy. I watched your show yesterday. We just started talking. He said, do you want to learn? And I said, yeah. He said, give me 2 weeks. I'll teach you everything. And then he threw me into this program with him. And I studied hypnosis, and I studied the power of the mind and how powerful it is that we can control our thoughts and our experiences. And so I then went and took a NLP course so now I'm a certified NLP practitioner. But
NLP is what? What is NLP?
NLP is neuro-linguistic programming. So all it is how you affect your mind with your worries and changing your thoughts and all of those things. And so I love using the skill to help people make powerful lifestyle changes.
Yes. And how does that work? How do you do that? Because that's very powerful. That's very powerful. So how do you do that through the hypnosis? Or
I do. So it's between hypnosis and meditation. So the mix between the two, I'm able to help people really change their lives. I help people quit smoking. I help people change their diet. I help people lose weight without effort. I help people release their hold that sugar has on them. I've helped people feel more confident, which is the beginning of everything. The beginning of becoming a good business person, a good wife, a good lover, a good friend. Being confident in who you are is the very beginning. And so I love helping people do that. And so if I can help people on the inside first, as much as I love hair, helping people on the inside really change their thoughts. I help people release anxiety and frustrations that they have. One of my clients, she was really struggling. She said, I could depend on having a panic attack every week, at least twice a week. And after working with me, she said, I haven't had one since my with you, and that was amazing. And that's a big deal because
what happens? So what happens? Because I have friends that we talk a lot about meditation. We've talked about like regression, like, thinking back to like meditate. I can't explain it. I'm doing a terrible job, but we talk about, meditation and I'm trying to get into meditation more. And so how do you do that? Is that over multiple sessions? Is it a one-time thing? Do you need a tune-up sometimes? Like, how does that work?
So it varies. It's different per person. Meditation, honestly, it's hard. Meditation is hard by yourself. Like, I have to quiet my mind, and I'm supposed to focus on my breath. Am I supposed to focus? And you're trying to focus, and then you start thinking about the day, and you're like, oh, come back to my breathing. It's really hard. So with the techniques that I've learned, I'm able to really help people really quickly. Like, I just did a group session 2 days ago, and it was only 10 minutes. And people are saying that was the most powerful thing I ever experienced in my life. I feel very calm. I feel very at peace. I'm very sure of who I am in a way that I haven't experienced before. Wow. I woke up very different. It doesn't have to be to be the long, drawn out meditations where you're sitting there and you have to focus on your breath and all of that. The main thing that I do is I take you into a space in your mind where you can make the powerful changes. And so the thing about hypnosis and meditation and any type of form of manifestation, it's all about connecting to your senses. And so if I can if I can help you see the best version of yourself, if I can help you feel what it feels like to be the best version of yourself, if I can help you see what you're wearing when you are the best version of yourself, where are you, who's surrounding you, if I can help you get that visual, you start to really understand, oh, it's a different thing. So when I can get you in a space of clarity to really feel that and go deep into your subconscious mind where everything is stored, then I can
change the world. That's so funny because so I didn't expect the conversation to take this turn, but it's awesome because I was going to ask you, how has this experience changed you? living abroad, how has it changed you? And I didn't know you before, but I can see how it changed you. The fact that you met the person who did hypnosis from a video the next day on a beach in Mexico is the craziest thing ever. And so I feel like when you said that you really lean into, listening to, like, nothing is accidental, listening to the signs that God or the universe sends you, and leaning into that. I think that's very special, because I just did a solo podcast by myself about the fact that I'm a realist, and that it's very hard for me to turn off that part of my brain that is logical. And in the podcast, I talk about the fact that I want to be a dreamer, because I want to see how the other half lives. Because why do I want to be a dreamer? You said I am?
No, you are a dreamer.
Oh.
You are a dreamer. We all are dreamers. We might not have it all the way out there all the time, but you are.
It seems dormant.
Our intuition is where all of our dreams and all of our creativity exists. You're a dreamer. I can give you a few tools to tap into it a little more, for sure.
Okay, I would definitely like to tap into it more, because I feel like most of my adult life has I've been responsible. Make the responsible, the logical choice. Don't get too excited. I've been very even keeled in that way. I think people will say that about my personality, that I'm very like, okay, what are the next steps? And I would like to tap into that part of myself who does not worry about the next steps, who does not have to have it all figured out before I, like, jump into something. And that's something that I would like to experience more of. So thank you for telling me that it's already within me, that, I just need to access it more.
Absolutely. It's in you, and all you gotta do is just play with it a little bit.
Well, I may be tapping into you so I can access my dreamer. But so when you think about, your time overseas, first in Mexico, first of all, do you think that you could have, why not continue to just travel and visit? Why move? Why move 100%? We talked about this a little bit before, but, is there something that frequent travel, like going somewhere, staying, and then coming back, is there something different about that you can't tap into that requires you to move away?
It's hard to build for me. I need the stability. I need the stability of being in a place longer. And so traveling, also, you don't have the same experience as you do living in a space. So if you're traveling, especially for like weeks at a time, yeah, you have your weeks and you get to go do all the touristy things, but you really don't rest. You don't really engage, even if you're like, oh, I get to engage in the community. If you're like, I intentionally am going out and I'm going to engage with the locals, you're only doing it for a week. You don't really get to experience what the culture is. You don't really get to indulge in the culture. You don't really get to feel what it feels like to be in that community long enough. Certain times of the year, the community, things may be going on now that might not happen later on. And just the time difference just affects your relationship with that place. So right now in Chiang Mai is burning season. So the air isn't always the best. So if you come now, you might be like, I don't like Chiang Mai. But if you come a little bit earlier, if you came a little later, you might be like, oh, Chiang Mai is wonderful. So it just, I to be stable, and I need to be here to get the full experience. And I don't want to go home.
Right. I was going to ask you if you got homesick. Do you ever get homesick?
I do get homesick. I love my family to death. I love my family more than anything. And we have a family group chat on Facebook where we all call in. There's like 8 or 9 of us call. And I love getting those calls because it really allows me to stay connected to home. I love talking to my family, but outside of family and my clients and relationships that I built, I don't get homesick.
So it's the people, not necessarily the place.
Correct. I say it all the time. Like, if I could just transport all of y'all here, I would be great. But I don't.
Are people in your family, do you feel like anybody would move? Do you have siblings? Do you have cousins who would be like, I want to move? Or how do they feel about you living so far away?
I have people who tell me they want to move. I have people that tell me they're going to come visit. I have people who are like, I can't wait to come out there. And so I'm just open to whatever they decide to make the move. I also, at one point, I used to, I felt like I was preaching, like, y'all come. And that wasn't just for my family, it was everyone. I'm like, I want everybody to come. Y'all need to be here. I'm going to tell you all the reasons why you need to be here. And it got to the point where it was getting frustrating because people were like, I'm going to come, and they didn't come. And so it's like, I'm just to what I learned is it's better for me just to live and show you how I'm living, and then you decide that you're gonna come versus me trying to push someone or trying to motivate someone to come. Love if you can, for sure, but I'm not gonna. Whenever you do, so
it's tough. So if someone is thinking about it, they watch this and they're like, wow, that sounds amazing. I would like to experience what some of what Zarah is experiencing. What are the top like 3 things that somebody who wants to live internationally, what should they think about, particularly Black women? What should we be thinking about, or what should we be doing to prepare ourselves or to move?
Absolutely. So number one, I would tell you, go into all of the Facebook groups, all of the Facebook, everything that you want to know about living abroad, traveling abroad, go on Facebook. There's tons of Facebook groups based around traveling abroad, people who live here. And in the Facebook groups, you ask all the questions and people will give you the answers. And so, for example, there's a Brothers and Sisters of Thailand group here. There's a Brothers and Sisters of Chiang Mai group. There is Black Women Thriving in Thailand group. There's so many different groups based off of living. And that's just, there's also groups for Phuket, for Bali, for Mexico. Literally every place that I've been, there has been Facebook groups dedicated to people who travel and live abroad. I'm currently working with Nubia. She runs Black in Tulum. They give out tons of information about traveling and living in Tulum. Black and Playa del Carmen. It's just all of them have some type of Facebook group from the beginning, and then it usually goes down to a WhatsApp group where you can tap in a little bit more once you're there. So that's number one. Tap into the Facebook group. Start looking. There's a search button. So if you have a question, type it in the search first, because someone probably asked it before, and you can find the answers to it. Just scroll through, read what you need to, and just start there. Number two, look up the cost of living. There is a website called Numio, NUMBEO.com. And you can look up the cost of living and what it'll cost for you, like the range of what it will cost for you to live in a city. That's a good place to start, so you know how to move forward. Make sure that you have enough money to stay for however long you want to stay and go from there. Also, I recommend tapping into, like, yes, go into Facebook groups, but actually reach out to some people and say, hey, listen, I'm considering moving out, or asking, hey, can someone talk to me? Would someone be willing to talk to me? Because that's important too. You're right. Yes, research for sure. And there's people who are willing and open to talk with you all day about living, because they want you to be just as excited and just as successful as they are, because it's a wonderful experience and they want to share it. There's people who are just as enthusiastic as I am about living abroad. So those are some of the things I always recommend people tap into the Facebook groups for sure.
So what do you say to people who are dealing with a bit of fear about it? How do you deal with fear?
Fear is natural, and if it's about your why. You have to tap into your why, really define what it is that you're doing and why are you doing it, because that will be the reason that you hold on to. That will be the thing you hold on to in the face of fear, because we're all going to be afraid of something. We are all fearful of something. We're all doing something right now. It's like, this is a little uncomfort. And that's important. Like, we have to push through our comfort zones. If this is what you really want, what is your why? Why do you want to be here? What is your reasoning? What do you want to experience? And that will be and I talk about that often. You need to make sure you know your why first. So that way, when you have your why, you can always have your backbone to all of the fears and all of that. This is going to be worth it, because at the end, I'm going to have this. And so making sure you clearly define your why so you can move forward through the fear. And then also the importance of community too, like tapping into other people who are doing what you're doing and hearing, like asking them like, hey, listen, how do you navigate this? And what do you recommend for that? Because that will help you alleviate your own fears when you are connected with women or men or whoever doing the same thing that you want to do.
Mm. Well, you were definitely the like poster child for I'm like ready to pack my bags for real.
Come on.
Like, what am I doing? So it's been so great to talk to you. Thank you so much for being just a beautiful spirit. I really enjoyed this conversation. So where can we get the hair? Because you just started first of all, how do you even have the connections to start your own hairline? Did you make the connections in Thailand, or like, how did this happen?
I made the connections in Thailand. The hair brand is based in Vietnam, and I met someone who had a great hair connect here. So I was like, oh, this is wonderful. This is something I want to, everything I say I want to do here comes to me very easily too. It's something that's mind blowing for me and everyone around me. They're like, you just said that yesterday. I know. And so
we need to tap into what you have, because that's what you just said sounded like an affirmation. Everything I tap into comes to me easily. And it's your truth.
I say it every morning, and it is my truth, and every day it proves to me that it's true. So, but yes, this is allurehaircollection.com. You can tap into raw Burmese hair. This is raw human hair, unprocessed, very high quality hair. Please check it out.
Oh, thank you so much. I really enjoyed talking to you. I really could keep going, but I'm gonna let you go, seeing that it's 6 a.m. where you are. I appreciate your time. And where can people find you online if they want to follow you?
I'm Zarah Charm on all platforms. That's Zarah, Zarah, Charm, Charm, ZarahCharm.com. I'm on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, all the things. And yes, check us out. And also check out Black in Chiang Mai. Check out Black in Chiang Mai on all platforms too.
And also your hair show, your international hair
show. It's
called Fluidity, right?
Called Fluidity Hair. Yes, Fluidity Hair Exhibition. If you go to fluidityhair.com, you can check it out. I have tickets available. I also have live stream tickets available too. If you can't make it, there's also a live stream ticket available. So
no, when is it? What is the date?
It is April the 11th. Yeah.
Ooh,
April.
Okay. I have to get this. I'm like, wait, I'm calculating the dates in my mind. Okay. Thank you so much, Zarah, for joining me. I really enjoyed talking to you. And for everybody else, I will see you next time.
Thank you. Bye.